Hey, what's up you guys, it's Ruthie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into part 3 of chapter 28 of Marked by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. So let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. The ghosts paused in their attack. I focused on them, not wanting to distract myself with the terror of Heath's eyes and the pain in Eric's. We prefer this warm young blood priestess. The eerie voice echoed up to me, sending chills over my skin. I swear I could smell his rotting flesh-scented breath. I swallowed hard. I understand that, but those lives aren't yours to take. Tonight is not a night for celebration, not for death, and yet we choose death. It is the dearest to us. Ghostly laughter floated through the air with the tainted smoke of sweet grass, and the spirits began to converge again on Heath. I threw down the goblet and raised my hands. Then I'm not asking anymore. I'm telling you. Wind, fire, water, earth, and spirit, I command in Nyx's name that you close this circle, pulling back to the dead who have been allowed to escape. Now. Heat surged through my body and shot from my outstretched hands, and a rush of salt-scented wind that was burning hot. A shining green mist whooshed from me down the stairs to whip around Heath and Eric, making their clothes and hair flap like mad. The magical wind caught the smoky shapes and tore them from their victims, and with a deafening roar, it sucked them back into the boundary of my circle. Suddenly, I was surrounded by ghostly shapes from which I could feel danger and hunger pulsing as clearly I had felt Heath's blood earlier. Aphrodite was curled up on the chair, cowering from the specters. One of them brushed against her, and she let out a little shriek, which seemed to stir them up even more, and then pressed violently around me. Zoe, Stevie Ray cried my name, her voice shrill with fear. I saw her take a hesitant step towards me. No, Damien snapped, don't break the circle. They can't hurt Zoe, they can't hurt any of us. The circle is too strong, but only if we don't break it. We're not going anywhere, Shawnee called. Nope, I like it right here, Aaron said, sounding only a little breathless. I felt their loyalty and trust and acceptance like a sixth element. It filled me with confidence. I straightened my spine and looked at the swirling, angry ghosts. So we're not leaving, which means you guys have to go. I pointed down at the spilled blood and wine. Take your sacrifice and get out of here. It's all the blood that is owed to you tonight. The smoky horde paused in their seething. I knew I had them. I drew a deep breath in and finished it. With the power of the elements, I command you, go. Suddenly, as though an invisible giant slapped them down, they dissolved into the wine-soaked floor on the gazebo, somehow absorbing the blood-tinged liquid and making it disappear with them. I breathed a long, ragged sigh of relief. Automatically, I turned to Damien. Thank you, wind. You may depart. He started to blow out his candle, but he didn't need to. A little puff of wind, which felt surprisingly playful, did it for him. Damien grinned at me, and then his eyes got huge and round. Zoe, your mark. What? I lifted my hand to my forehead. It tingled as did my shoulders and my neck, which figured I always get shoulder and neck aches when I'm overstressed, but my whole body was still humming with the after effects of elemental power, so I hadn't even noticed it. His shocked look changed to happiness. Finish closing the circle, then you can use one of Aaron's many mirrors to see what's happened. I turned to Shawnee to say goodbye to Fire. Wow, amazing, Shawnee said, staring at me. Hey, how did you know I have more than one mirror in my purse? Aaron was complaining from across the circle at Damien. When I turned to her and sent water away, her eyes got big when she caught a good look at me too. Holy shit, she said. Aaron, you really shouldn't curse in a sacred circle. Y'all know it's not, Stevie Ray was saying in her sweet oaky twang when I turned to say goodbye to Earth, and her words were suddenly cut off as she gasped. Oh my goodness. I sighed. Hell, what now? I went back to the table and lifted the spirit candle. Thank you, spirit. You may depart, I said. Why? Aphrodite stood up abruptly so that she knocked over the chair like everyone else. She was staring at me with a ridiculous shocked expression. Why you? Why not me? Aphrodite, what are you talking about now? She's talking about this. Aaron handed me a compact she pulled out of the chic leather purse she'd always had slung over her shoulder. I opened it and looked. At first I didn't understand what I was seeing. It was too foreign, too surprising. Then from my side, Stevie Ray whispered, "It's beautiful." And I realized she was right. It was beautiful. My mark had been added to. A delicate swirl of lace like sapphire tattooing framed my eyes, not as intricate and large as adult vamp, but unheard of in a fledgling. I let my fingers trace the curling design, thinking that it looked something like that should decorate the face of an exotic foreign princess, or maybe the high priestess of a goddess. And I stared hard at the me that really wasn't me, this stranger who was becoming more and more familiar. And that's not all, Zoe. Look at your shoulder, Damien said softly. I glanced down at the deep off-the-shoulder neckline of my cool dress and felt a jolt of shock surge through my body. My shoulder was tattooed, too. Stretching from my neck down my shoulder and back were sapphire tattoos and swirling pattern much like the one on my face. Only the blue marks on my body looked even more ancient, even more mysterious because they were interpressed with letter-like symbols. My mouth opened, but words wouldn't come out. Z, he needs help. Eric broke through my shock, and I looked up from my shoulder to see him stumbling into the gazebo, half carrying an unconscious Heath. Whatever, leave him here, Aphrodite said. Someone will find him in the morning. We need to get out of here before the guards wake up. I whirled on her. And you ask why me and not you? Maybe because Nyx is sick of you and tired of you being selfish, spoiled, indulgeful, hateful. I paused, so pissed I couldn't think of any more adjectives. Nasty, and Aaron and Shawnee added together. Yeah, and a nasty bully. I took a step closer to her and got all in her face. The whole change is hard enough without someone like you. Unless we want to be your... I glanced up at Damien and smiled. Your psychopants. You make us feel like we don't belong, like we're nothing. That's over, Aphrodite. What you did tonight was totally, completely wrong. You almost caused Heath to die, and maybe even Eric, and who knows who else. And it was all because of your selfishness. It wasn't my fault your boyfriend tracked you here, she yelled. No, Heath wasn't your fault, but that's the only thing that wasn't your fault tonight. It was your fault that your so-called friends wouldn't stand by you and keep the circle strong. And it was your fault the negative spirits found the circle to begin with. She looked confused, which pissed me off even more. Sage, you hateful hag. You're supposed to use sage to clear out negative energy before you use sweet grass. And it's not surprising that you drew such a horrid spirits. Yeah, 'cause you're horrid, Stevie Ray said. You don't have shit to say about it, Refrigerator, Aphrodite sneered. No, I put my finger in her face. This refrigerator crap is the first thing that's ending. Oh, so now you're going to pretend that you don't crave the taste of blood more than any of us? I glanced up at my friends. They met my eyes with flinching. Damien smiled encouragement. Stevie Ray nodded at me. The twins winked, and I realized that I'd been a fool. They weren't going to shun me. They were my friends. I should have trusted them more, even if I hadn't learned to trust myself yet. Well, I'll eventually crave blood, I said simply, or we'll die. But that doesn't make us monsters, and it's time the Dark Daughter stopped acting the part. You're finished, Aphrodite. You're no longer leader of the Dark Daughters, and I suppose you think that you're the leader? I nodded. I am. I didn't come to the House of Night asking for these powers. All I wanted was a place to fit in. Well, I guess this is Nyx's way of answering my prayer. I smiled at all my friends and then grinned back at me. Clearly, the goddess has a sense of humor. You bitch. You can't just take over the Dark Daughters. Only a high priestess can change their leadership. Convenient, then, that I am here, isn't it? Nefret said. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.